to a new Royal Reviewer episode. It has been a while, but I am back and ready to talk about the royals, the British royal family, what has been going on, and there has been a lot going on since, of course, we've had a change of monarch and a new reign. So if I pick up from where we left off, which was, of course, the Queen's funeral, I think, it went as well as funerals go. It was a really big state occasion, the likes of which, we're probably not going to see for a very, very, very long time. In the respect of, not in terms of there's not going to be a royal death, of course. Eventually it comes to everyone, and certainly King Charles's reign will not be as long as his mother's. What I'm talking about is probably in terms of the emotional connection to the monarch. Of course, many people, probably the majority of the country, will not remember a previous monarch. Only those people that are very, very old will remember a previous monarch. The Queen was on the throne for over 70 years, well, just 70 years. So, that sort of emotional connection, that outpouring of grief, that real feeling, I don't think necessarily will be felt again, although, we might see with King Charles. I can see people dropping in. I can see James Medford and I can see Sheila Hall. Hello to you all. I'm wondering if notifications will get sent out. I don't know. But anyway, I think the funeral went as well as it possibly could do. And I think now, the dust is beginning to settle and we're seeing those wheels of monarchy, that continuity really going through its own motions. We are seeing a lot of firsts for the royal family. For example, this week has been the first state visit. And of course, there hasn't been a state visit for a couple of years anyway, not because of the Queen's health, but because of all the COVID restrictions and travel restrictions. It was just deemed not very safe and not really, I don't know, probably viewed good to be publicly having a big state occasion and a big state banquet. So here we are in 2022, towards the end of the year, having our first state banquet in a couple of years, but also with a new monarch. I'm going to be talking about that. Also going to be talking about Prince Edward and all these rumours swirling around about King Charles not giving him, or not wanting to give him, the Duke of Edinburgh title that he was promised. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking about the Councillors of State and how that has been extended under King Charles. We're also going to be talking about the new Prince and Princess of Wales. And of course, I know you're all going to be wanting to know about the jewellery that's been worn by the Princess of Wales and of course the Queen Consort. So I'm just going to kind of dive into it pretty much straight away. So let's go first of all on my list, Prince Edward, the Earl of Wessex and Forfar. So Prince Edward, if you didn't know, of course, the Queen's younger son, he has two earldoms. He was granted the earldom of Wessex on his wedding day back in 1999 to Sophie Rhys-Jones, of course, the Countess of Wessex, as she became. But then later on, only a few years ago now, he was given another earldom, the earldom of Forfar, spelt Forfar, which is a Scottish title. So when he's in Scotland, he's known as the Earl of Forfar, and of course Sophie is known as the Countess of Forfar. And when in England and the rest of the UK, it's the Earl and Countess of Wessex. So going back to that wedding day in 1999, when he was bestowed the earldom of Wessex, the Queen, it was agreed with the Queen and believed to be Prince Charles as well, that upon the Duke of Edinburgh's passing, and of course the Queen's passing, we'll talk about why in a moment, it's the Queen's passing, but Edward was promised the Dukedom of Edinburgh, which was of course Prince Philip's title, all the way through his marriage to Queen Elizabeth. So when Prince Philip died, the title didn't go to the Queen, so the Queen couldn't re-gift it out again. It actually went to Prince Charles, as he was then the Prince of Wales, because the Prince of Wales was the heir. He was the eldest male. Therefore, Prince Charles got all of the Duke of Edinburgh's styles and titles that were able to be inherited. Now, of course, Prince Charles wasn't able to gift those out again himself, so the plan was to wait until Prince of Wales became King Charles, before they could be regifted out again. And we saw a very swift and decisive move. In fact, it took me by surprise how quickly and swiftly that the style of Prince of Wales was bestowed upon William, because that could have waited. I was thinking that could have waited until after the coronation. However, King Charles made a really, it still feels weird calling him King Charles, but King Charles made a very swift decision and move. He bestowed it upon William. And a lot of people were thinking that he would do the same thing for the Earl of Wessex, which he has not. Now, I think as the weeks and the sort of months have gone on, the press is trying to stir up a little bit of royal hysteria, shall we say. So the press obviously have picked up on the fact that that has not been bestowed upon the Earl of Wessex, and I think what we saw at the weekend, remember it was Sunday, I think it was Sunday when the story came out, and there's always a slew of royal stories that come out on Sunday just to kind of get the headlines. And I think this was one of those occasions when they were just basically fishing. They were fishing for stories and almost trying to kind of stir up a little bit of chaos, shall we say. And I think a lot of people do take what they read and what they see at complete face value. But what I'm going to do now is just kind of break down what actually makes sense, because not giving him the title, you'll see in a moment, just really does not make any kind of sense whatsoever. So yeah, the style and title, I think what will happen in due course is that after the coronation, or maybe even, I think after the coronation, perhaps even on a special occasion for Prince Edward and Sophie, maybe the anniversary of their wedding, maybe a birthday, could even be a Christmas present, I don't know. Whatever the occasion, I'm thinking King Charles will wait until after the coronation for a birthday or a wedding anniversary, some kind of, big occasion, some kind of meaningful occasion for Edward and Sophie before he gifts the Dukedom of Edinburgh. Now, of course, the press have been saying that King Charles won't do that because he wants to slim down the monarchy even more than it's already decimated at. And again, I don't think that this is the case, because what makes a royal isn't the aristocratic title of dukedom or earl, whatever it might be, baron, whatever the aristocratic title is. That doesn't make someone royal. What makes somebody royal is the HRH. 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 That his or her Royal Highness. That is the style that makes somebody royal. So if Charles wanted to slim down the monarchy even more, he would have to remove some HRHs. Now, he could do that not just from Edward and Sophie, and he would actually probably start with Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, because, of course, they are styled royals, they are styled princesses, but they are not working royals. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to take the HRH away from Prince Edward, but it would make sense, I suppose, if that's what he wanted to do, to remove it from the Duke of York's daughters, of course, Beatrice and Eugenie, which there has been nothing mooted of that sort whatsoever. In fact, it's still my opinion that King Charles will probably need eventually to maybe even call upon Beatrice and Eugenie to perform some royal duties. So like I said, it's the HRH that makes somebody royal. So by removing or not bestowing a dukedom upon Prince Edward, it's not going to make him any less royal. It's not going to slim down the monarchy even more. It's not going to prevent Edward from performing royal duties. In fact, completely the opposite has happened. King Charles has been relying upon Princess Anne, his sister, the Earl and Countess of Wessex, the Prince and Princess of Wales, even more to be able to bolster the royal family workforce, because it has been decimated since Harry and Meghan left, and of course the Duke of York is no longer in action. So it makes no sense to me that Charles would want to do that. Also, the Dukedom of Edinburgh title, and if that was bestowed upon Edward, that would be inherited by his son James. Now, of course, Prince Edward's children are actually HRHs and Prince and Princesses. However, they choose not to use those styles, although they could choose to use it now. In fact, Lady Louise is actually old enough to make that decision now. So if she wanted to, she could use HRH and become a princess of the United Kingdom, or rather use those titles because she already is, and the same for James when he reaches that age. So the only thing that bestowing the Dukedom of Edinburgh would do is that it means that the title would be inherited, and therefore it couldn't be bestowed upon, for example, William and Catherine's children in the future. However, there are plenty of styles and titles that will be available for them in due course. For example, the Prince of Wales, Prince William, currently is also still the Duke of Cambridge. So that title will be able to be regifted once William is king. There are many others that are not in use, and some could even be newly created. So there isn't going to be a shortfall of titles and styles. So that's what makes me think that that story is just kind of fishing for things. Let me just go and read some comments just to see what people are saying. Lady Londinium says, best decision to make William and Catherine Prince and Princess of Wales immediately. Yes, I think so too. H.A. Bracken says Edward turned 60, yes, in 2024, so maybe then. Yes, it could be a 60th birthday present. I'm thinking that has been reserved for a big occasion for the Wessexes. So I'm going to move on. I kind of tackled that slightly. I'm going to move on to the Councillors of State. So as we know, the Councillors of State historically, in its current form since the Act was put in, means that the next four royals in line to the throne can be Councillors of State. Now, a Councillor of State operates, I'm sure you might already know, but for those that don't, it means that in a monarch's absence, so say they're overseas on a foreign tour, or they're poorly, or there's something that's preventing the sovereign from performing their duties back in the UK, then a Councillor of State can deputise for them. They can step in. They have limited kind of powers of what they can do and what they can't do, and that is limited to the first four in the line of succession. So currently, under those rules, that includes the Queen Consort, obviously consort to King Charles. There is the new Prince of Wales, Prince William. There is the Duke of Sussex, of course, Harry, who is overseas. The Duke of York, who is no longer using HRH and no longer performing royal duties. And Princess Beatrice. Those are the four. So at the moment, contrary to what people believe, that still remains as is. What King Charles has asked Parliament to do, and Parliament has agreed in principle, is to extend it so that Princess Anne and, of course, Prince Edward can also be called upon to be Councillors of State. That is going through Parliament right now. So that's why I say it currently still stands at those four key figures. But that is expected to go through Parliament very soon. It has been fast-tracked. I think it's just going through the final stages of approval. Once that has been approved, it will include the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, who has been doing a stoic job. I mean, she has been worth her weight in gold. I think King Charles is really beginning to appreciate his sister even more than probably he did before, because she is such a support. She is so stoic, and she's had a massive rise, I think, in popularity. When you read comments about her, and also her work is being highlighted a lot more now in the media. So Princess Anne has had a bit of a boost, and she's definitely been upgraded by being made a Councillor of State once that all passes through. So, really good things for Princess Anne. Of course, in her eyes, she hasn't done anything differently, and she probably, in her mind, she hasn't done anything special. But no, just by being there, just by being Princess Anne, just by just doing that stoic duty and service, she is really fulfilling a helpful role for King Charles, and I think he is really beginning to appreciate that. So a big boost for Princess Anne. Again, a big boost for the Earl of Wessex, Prince Edward, which again, kind of flies in the face of King Charles snubbing him, not giving him the dukedom. Why would he snub him and not give him the dukedom of Edinburgh if then he's elevating him and making him a Councillor of State? Of course, some people have been thinking that the reason why the changes to the Councillor of State have been made is because of Harry and Meghan, but it's also because of the Duke of York as well, not being in action, shall we say. But of course, it makes no sense having Prince Harry as a Councillor of State when he doesn't live here anymore. He's primarily based, well, he's got a home here. We know he still retains Frogmore Cottage. He's still leasing it. But visits are few and far between, and he mainly is based now in Montecito. So having a Councillor of State that's kind of far away is not really a good idea. Having a Councillor of State that's sort of, under the scrutiny that the Duke of York is currently is not a good idea. So I think it's a kind of double whammy effect, and the obvious answer was to change the Act to include new royals. Let me know what you think about that one. James Med 4 says, Anne has given a sense of continuity and stability to the new reign. Absolutely. When you look at her, you can see the Queen a lot more now. Susan says, I think their placement has more to do with rank and protocol than any personal decision by Charles. Yes. I'm also wondering if the dukedom will be a coronation honour to Edward. I don't know. The only reason why I say I don't know is because I'm not sure whether it would be considered as, nothing would overshadow the coronation. But you know what I mean? Would it be sort of too much, or could it be bestowed maybe a few days before the coronation? I don't know. But it is also a possibility. You are right that the coronation could be one of those occasions, but I'm kind of leaning towards maybe it won't. But who knows? I mean, it certainly would give Edward the opportunity to wear a ducal coronet at the coronation. Going back to the coronation before I move on, I was surprised that it was happening quite early next year, but I think that might be due to the reflection that it has been scaled back. It's not going to be as big as the Queen's coronation. That was huge. They had extra seating put in the Abbey. And whether that's going to happen, I don't know. We're still going to have the pomp and circumstance. We're still going to have the ceremony, but it is being slimmed a little, which is kind of a little bit sad, but all the main elements will be there. Lady Londinium says, I would have preferred it to have Harry and Andrew removed as Councillors of State, but I heard it would have taken much longer to do it. It would have been a little bit more complicated to remove people. However, extending it effectively pushes Harry and Andrew out. Although technically they are still classed as Councillors of State, for them to be called upon, there would have to be some kind of royal catastrophe in that all the other royals, including Anne and Edward, couldn't be called upon. So by doing this move, Charles has effectively frozen them out as being Councillors of State, although technically, on a technicality, they do still remain. Christine says, so excited to see photos from the state banquet. They're already out. You can already go and see them. They are everywhere. I'm going to be talking about them in a moment. But yes, we'll get to that in a second. So I want to talk about the new Prince and Princess of Wales. They are doing a sterling job. They've already had tours, of course, of Wales, of which they now derive their title from. They did say when they took on this title that they would it would be a journey. It would be a journey of really getting to know and understand the Welsh people. Not that they don't know anything already. They spent they spent a couple of years living in Wales, in Anglesey. Anglesey is in Wales. So when William was a rescue pilot with the helicopters, with the air ambulance. That's what I was trying to say. So they do already have a connection with Wales, but I think they want to do a lot more travelling up and down Wales, really reaffirming that connection, maybe even learning the language. Will we see the Prince and Princess of Wales giving a speech in Welsh? That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? But they are doing a really good job. And I wanted to talk about Catherine's new brooch. Oh, it's amazing, it's fabulous. It is an Art Deco style brooch. I love the Art Deco style. It's all diamonds. It's in a nice Art Deco kind of pattern. Now, it is reportedly was bought for £14,500 in January from jewellery retailer Bentley and Skinner. So they are obviously a high-end jewellery retailer. I don't think it's brand new. I think it looks to me like an original Art Deco piece. So I'm thinking it's vintage. And apparently it went off sale in January of this year. Now, of course, Catherine's 40th birthday was in January. So everyone is speculating that it was a birthday present. Now, I'm thinking possibly a birthday present from Prince William, as he was, from the Duke of Cambridge, as he was then. So yes, I think it was probably a birthday present. I think that's pretty safe to say. But she debuted it at the Cenotaph on Remembrance Sunday, and it looked really spectacular. And then she wore it again for the state banquet last night, and it was pinned just here on her Royal Victorian Order sash, that kind of blue sash with the yellow trim. So it looked really, really beautiful. And I have to say, it's a very, very nice gift. Let me know what you think about that. Okay, I'm going to move on now to the Princess of Wales brooch. Now, I normally refer to it simply as the Princess of Wales brooch. However, it is actually the Ladies of North Wales brooch. So the Ladies of North Wales kind of club together. I mean, it's a really nice club to be able to gift a big suite of jewels, and they gifted a big suite of jewels to Queen Alexandra. So that includes a necklace, there's another brooch, I think there was earrings. It's a big collection of jewellery that was gifted. But this brooch with the Prince of Wales feathers. Now, the Prince of Wales feathers, of course, is the symbol, the emblem of the Prince of Wales. And also in Latin, the words which translated mean I serve are on there as well. So this brooch in more modern recent times was first worn, of course, by the Princess of Wales, Diana. You saw her, now she didn't really like wearing brooches, so she had it made into a necklace. She kind of hung just the diamond part of the brooch, not the emerald drop. It does come with an emerald drop, a single emerald drop. She had the drop removed, and she wore it as a diamond necklace, which looked really, really stunning on Diana. Then, of course, after Diana, I think it was actually at divorce. It wasn't at her death. It was at her divorce. That brooch with the drop was returned to Prince Charles because it is in the possession of the Prince of Wales, whoever that may be at the time. So that was returned to him. Then we saw it next on Camilla, who technically was the Princess of Wales when she was married to the Prince of Wales, now King Charles. So she wore it more as a brooch. She didn't really wear it as a necklace, and she did wear it a lot with the emerald pendant drop. Then, of course, we saw it debuted at the during the state visit, the South African state visit. Of course, the South African president is visiting. That is who we are entertaining. It is at the request of the British government. So we saw Catherine debut it. Now, she did wear it as a brooch with the emerald drop. So it's really, really nice to see that being worn by 3 princesses of Wales: Diana, Camilla, and now, of course, Catherine. So it was right and proper that Catherine should actually get that. Right. I'm also going to move on to other jewellery that was worn by Catherine at the state banquet. So first of all, we cannot leave this chat without mentioning that gorgeous white state banquet gown and that kind of cape dress. Now, a couple of years ago, I think I was a little bit down on these cape dresses. I didn't like them. I remember sitting and saying, I don't like those cape dresses. They make your shoulders look a bit boxy, and they're quite straight. But actually, when I looked at the pictures of Catherine, she looked stunning, and I really liked her version of the cape, the kind of over the shoulder cape dress coat thing. It was gorgeous, teamed with the sash, and I was just so excited to see the jewellery. Of course, we had the Lover's Knot tiara, Queen Mary's replica Lover Knot tiara. Lover's Knot tiara, of course, previously worn by Diana as well. That looked gorgeous with Diana's, was it the Queen's? I think it was the Queen's earrings. Or it might have been Diana's. Catherine has been wearing the Collingwood earrings. I can't remember from memory whether or not they were the same ones. So I'm going to reserve it as it could have been the Queen's earrings or Diana's earrings. But anyway, she wore some lovely kind of diamond and pearl drop earrings. She wore a pearl bracelet. Now the bracelet I know was the Queen's, and that was a nice simple one. We don't really know a lot about the history of the bracelet. Oh yes, it was Diana's earrings, because Diana's had quite a few pearl and diamond drop earrings. The Collingwood ones, of course, are the most famous, I do believe. So yeah, that was what Catherine was wearing. It looked gorgeous. Ooh, family orders. So it's a little bit too soon to get the family order of King Charles. Of course, those are the little badges with the monarch's face in. So everyone who attends these kind of state occasions, who is a working royal, would get a family order, like a little miniature surrounded by diamonds. They were still wearing, all of them were still wearing the Queen's portrait. So that tells me that they haven't had one made and manufactured for King Charles yet. Maybe they're waiting until after the coronation. I don't know, but they are still using the Queen's at the moment. So that was just kind of interesting to note. Now, Camilla. So I was wondering how soon it would be before Camilla came out wearing some of Queen Elizabeth's big pieces of jewellery. And of course, that the state banquet occasion did not disappoint. Camilla was wearing a really amazing sapphire and diamond tiara. So this tiara, now this whole suite, it's called the Queen Elizabeth's Sapphire Parure. Or is it Parure or Parure? Anyway, whatever that word is, P-A-R-U-R-E. However you pronounce it, it's part of Queen Elizabeth's. Now the acquisition of this whole suite has been developing over many years. It originates in 1947, but the actual tiara itself was bought in 1963, and it started life as a necklace. And if you look at it, you can really see that. You can see that how it would kind of hang as a necklace if you kind of turned it upside down. The Queen had it fixed on a frame to have it upright as a tiara. So I thought that was a really nice kind of reinvention of that necklace being turned into a tiara. So the whole suite has lots of different, it's basically a collection of lots of different pieces of sapphire and diamond jewellery that have been kind of acquired over the years, starting in 1947, I think all the way through to 1963. So that's why it's known as Queen Elizabeth's, but these pieces will have had history far beyond Queen Elizabeth. Okay, I've already mentioned that Catherine was wearing the Royal Victorian Order. That's what her sash was, and I've mentioned the pearl bracelet. Sophie Wessex, the Countess of Wessex, was wearing her aquamarine tiara, a really gorgeous tiara. I like the simplicity of it, and I love the aquamarines. That also started life as a necklace. And I do believe that Sophie's can still be interchanged back into a necklace, but I think primarily she wears it as a tiara. Right, let's go back. Amber says caped dresses look really best on tall women. That would only make a short woman even shorter. I can see how that would make, how it would make you look quite boxy. Hello to Lauren. Hello to everyone who is dropping in. I have no idea how many people we have in the chat because it's not displaying it to me. So there we go. That was kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Do we have any questions? We have one from Tom Murphy coming in. If you received a family order, you can wear it forever. Her late Majesty always wore both her fathers and grandfathers. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So let's just say you lived under 3 reigns and you were eligible to receive a family order. You could wear 3 of them on formal state occasions. So yes, that is true and correct. Right. Do we have any other questions? I will stay on for another... Oh, we have 82 people watching. Hello to all of you. I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Lauren says, it was great to see the King take on the role yesterday, but I do miss our dear Queen. It still feels like she's here. I don't know why, because logically we all know that she's not here, but it kind of still feels like she's still here. Does anyone else feel the same? Cynthia agrees that the King showed a great move by making William Prince of Wales right away. Absolutely, it was a really swift decision. Like I say, I didn't think it would be so swift, but it was, and I do think it was the correct move. Betsy says, how will the children of William and Catherine be styled? Exactly the same as William and Harry were when their parents were Prince and Princess of Wales. So they will be of Wales. But technically they're also still of Cambridge because William still has the Cambridge ducal title. So yes, they are, Prince George, His Royal Highness Prince George of Wales, Her Royal Highness Princess Charlotte of Wales. That is their kind of primary title, but they can also use Cambridge as well. Okay, the feathers are just the symbol of the Prince of Wales. It's always been the case. As far as I'm aware, it's always been that kind of emblem of just the Prince of Wales, 3 feathers. Amber says, after Harry's book comes out, I'm afraid it will cause permanent damage. Poor grandkids. I mean, again, with Prince Harry and Meghan, everything just goes back to choice. It's all about choice. Whatever they choose to do and choose to say and choose to sell is all about choice. Nobody is making them do it. Nobody's holding anything to their heads, making them have a book or making them do a documentary, whatever it might be. It's all about personal choice. Now, we don't truly know what's in the book until we actually see it and get it and read it. Or read about it third hand from the press, however you want to go about doing it. So we need to reserve a little bit of judgment, and there are certain things that I think, Harry is entitled to say, all about, his experience in the armed forces and maybe his experience, surrounding the death of his mother. It's all things that, he does have a right to talk about. But when you are also, if you're talking about members of your current family who are alive, who have the positions that they hold, it's all about choice. You don't have to do it. And I just keep thinking back, keep thinking back to yourself. If you had a family falling out, if you had a rift, if you didn't agree with what somebody was doing in your own family, would you take it to Twitter? Would you take it to Facebook? Would you write an article on it? Would you, if you were able, would you do a book about it? I mean, these are living people, presumably, who Prince Harry might want to have a future renewed relationship with. And yes, I agree. I think doing what they're doing at the moment is only going to push them further apart. I think it's going to be... it might be cathartic for Harry, but it's certainly, I don't think, going to bring the family together. I was hoping that might have happened at the funeral, but obviously Harry is pushing ahead with it, so it's basically all about choice. They don't have to do it. They could carry on and have jobs and live how they want to live in California without doing the bits that could harm their family and also ruin the chances of making amends. That's basically my thoughts on it. So look, Lauren says, also, are we all looking forward to the coronation? Absolutely. I know we're a little off, but still very exciting to watch. Yes, absolutely. And you're going to have a buffet. Susan says, I think Harry's book will be of his story, and it won't be the first book that may contain warts. No, there have been, other books published, but of course we're talking about the son of a reigning monarch. It is a little bit different than perhaps staff members or other people doing maybe divorced members of the family or other kinds of things. So there is that to think about. When your father is the king, that does make it a little bit different. Lauren says, I know it's going to be a slimmed down coronation event, but still very exciting. Absolutely. All the elements will be there. All the pomp, all the main elements will be there. Okay, thank you, James. Eldora says, the royal family has plenty of warts when you live your life in public. All is fair game. Harry has his right to tell his story. I agree, he has his right to say it, but again, it's about choice. Just because you have the right to do something doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best decision and that you should do it. That's all I'm saying. There will be repercussions. And, I think if Harry did want to have reconciliation with his family, which in my eyes should be the main priority, that should be your main priority, it seems a funny way of going about it. Thank you, Christine. Right, I am going to go now. Do let me know in the comments what you would like me to talk about next when I'm on, and I will endeavour to come back and speak to you about it. So, as always, thank you for watching. If you've liked it, please subscribe, leave a comment, share on social media. So until next time, mwah to you all, and goodbye.